What is up, you guys? Naesam here, and as you may have guessed by the title, this is going to be a guide for Mythic or Heroic Il'gynoth, specifically for Elemental Shamans. So this is not going to be like a tactics guide for like a guild or something. This is going to be a tactics guide for Elemental Shamans. So without further ado, let's get started. So for your talents, I would definitely suggest going with Totem Mastery, Windrush Totem, Lightning Surge Totem, or Earth Grab Totem, Ancestral Swiftness, Primal Elementalist, Elemental Mastery, and then Ascendance or Lightning Rod. To kind of clarify on some of these, for one thing, on the tier 30 talent, unless you have like 2 AoE speed boosts, like 2 Stampeding Roars or another Windrush Totem, you definitely want to go Windrush Totem because it helps the group kind of get out with their Cursed Blood and spread out. I don't remember if this is exactly how it works on Heroic, but on Mythic, as soon as the second Cursed Blood comes out, everyone runs out to spread out on the outside so they don't end up dying on the inside. So putting your Windrush Totem down is really, really helpful for that. If there is 2 speed boosts, then you're safe to go Gust of Wind. And for tier 45, there's some specific tricks you can do with Earth Grab Totem that I'll talk about in a bit. But in general, Lightning Surge Totem is pretty good, especially for Stunning Bloods on the eye. For tier 100, I personally used Ascendance for Mythic progression because we weren't certain that we'd have the heart damage. But if you do know you will have the heart damage, if your guild's gear is pretty good, then you can go with Lightning Rod. Liquid Magma Totem might be useful, but I haven't really tested that, since Lightning Rod I feel is a lot more useful. So for Heroic, the strat is pretty straightforward. You just kill Corruptors first, and kill like Bloods on the eye. And then on Mythic, it gets a lot more complicated because every time a Blood dies, it puts a dot on everybody in the raid. That stacks. So what my guild did was we decided just to kind of YOLO it and kill both Dominators at the same time, mass AoE grip all of the Bloods, and kill them all at once. And then we just stood in a whole bunch of healing cooldowns. You probably saw that on the screen already, but that's, for context, that's what my guild was doing. So I do have quite a few tips for this boss. So first thing, if your guild does do what my strat, or what my guild's strat was, I would definitely suggest saving all your cooldowns for that. If you're Spec Ascendance, save Ascendance. If you're not Spec Ascendance, just save Stormkeeper. And probably Elemental Mastery. And then Stormkeeper, Ascendance, and you can like Lava Beam everything and kill them all really quickly. Or just Chain Lightning or whatever. Basically, save your cooldowns for that. You want to kill them as quickly as possible. And also, well, obviously you're killing Dominators first, you can save up some Maelstrom and then drop some Earthquakes in the middle where they're going to be gripped and get some more damage out of that. Next tip is you can safely use your Fire Illy on the pull on Mythic, unless you're doing some like Mongoloid strat where you kill the Bloods a whole bunch at once, more than we did, because for our strat after the first 8 we kind of killed them one at a time. But as long as you are adamant about always using your Lava Burst on cooldown, whether it's on the eye and does no damage or it's on like a mob, as long as you're certain that you're maximizing your Elementalist trait, you can safely use your Fire Illy on pull and it will be back up before you go into the heart. Another thing, if a Blood dies and it's not within range of the heart or the eye, and your Death Knight cannot grip it, you can utilize your Thunderstorm. Very useful, and you can knock the Blood into it. Your raid will be very thankful for that. So one thing that's probably kind of controversial is that I think you could gain a lot of damage on the Horror ad, which needs to die quickly. Assuming you're not specified by your guild to be on the Bloods, and this is pretty much Mythic specific. On Heroic you just kind of kill the Bloods, but on Mythic you can put Flame Shocks, like low duration Flame Shocks, on the high health ads, and you can just kind of turret your Lava Burst into the Horror. I would definitely not suggest putting your Flame Shock on a low health ad because the whole thing about this boss is you have to kill things very controlled, and you don't want dots because dots are not controlled. Then, as I said earlier, when you're inside the heart room, as soon as the second Cursed Blood comes out, you want to drop your Windrush Totem right by the entrance. Everyone runs out, fans out, and hopefully no one will overlap and die because of that. And then there's some tips that are only really usable on Mythic. So on Mythic, if you didn't know, there's a mechanic called Death Blossoms, where a whole bunch of flowers spawn and everyone has to stand in one. Well, not everyone, but there's like 15 that people have to stand in. And if you don't stand in one, it's basically a wipe. So people all go to stand in these, and then it's pretty common that someone will just sit there getting meleeed by their fixated blood, and if they die before it goes off, not only are they dead, but you also got the dot from not soaking a Death Blossom, so you want to prevent that as much as possible. So that is where Lightning Surge Totem comes to use. Since you aren't going to be killing Bloods at that point anyway, since everyone's going to be focused on soaking, you can stun the Bloods no matter where they are and keep them from meleeing people. You can also Thunderstorm them away from you if you're fixated. You can also Frost Shock. There's a lot of things you can do. And then there's one little known thing that is most likely going to get fixed soon, but if you're watching this before it gets fixed, if you spec into Earth Grab Totem, now that Shamans have Earthbind Totem back, both of them will root. And they don't share a cooldown, so if, like, usually you can't get all of them with one root, all the Bloods, so you can drop your Earthbind Totem in one place, root those Bloods, and drop your Earth Grab Totem in another place and root those Bloods, and basically prevent anyone from getting meleeed if you do it right. I haven't actually done this myself, but I do know it works because I've done it in, like, dungeons on accident and stuff. I learned this on accident, and it's very good to know, and I'm excited to try it out next Tuesday. So my last tip that is also probably not very well known is that on Mythic difficulty, I don't know if it's on Heroic as well, because I don't think I've ever had to two-phase Heroic, but when you go inside the second time, there are ice stalks everywhere that cast Mind Flay. For one thing, you have a very, very good interrupt for that. Wind Shear, 12-second cooldown, use it. And more importantly, your Chain Lightning will chain from the heart to the ice stalks. 1 or 2 ice stalks usually only, but that can be, especially if you're Spec Lightning Rod, that can be a very serious increased single target. And if you need to kill the ice stalks, you can always just target one of the ice stalks and Chain Lightning, and it'll hit the boss too. And get the Lightning Rod on the ice stalks, so you can get more priority damage. But that's definitely something you want to be taking use of. I didn't know that my first kill, as you may have seen in the background. I don't know if the videos have been that long yet. But you can Chain Lightning in that last room, and it will hit more than one thing. So that sums up all of the strategies and stuff that I learned while progressing on this boss. All the talents and stuff that you're supposed to be using, so hopefully you guys learned something, hopefully this was helpful. And just so everyone knows, I do intend to finish this little Emerald Nightmare Guide series within a week of this video being released, now that I've killed Xavius and Cenarius. Xavius is going to be hard to make a guide on because it only took me 8 pulls, so I don't really know exactly what I was doing, but since it's so easy, I guess I don't really need to have super in-depth, but I'll do my best, and hopefully it turns out well. But I do intend to have this whole series finished within the week, so hopefully it's not too late already, because I kind of burnt out at editing guides for a while. I had to just take a break, but I'm feeling better again, so we'll see how it goes. But thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, like if you liked it, all the other stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.